All right. All right. Oh. Welcome to the chat. Any chatters in the chat? They're really looking down on me, huh? Should get that all the way up, all the way down. We're going to be doing the Wrecking and Rapping podcast in a minute. Thanks for peeking through. We'll be reading some Shakespeare, of course. Sonnet number 4, I think we're up to. Yeah, it's a very interesting world Shakespeare's sonnets are. Just getting everything set up to record on my laptop. All right, let's join that. I think my camera here is crooked. I have this song that keeps appearing on reels and shorts there. It's like, if you call my name, and I'll take you there, and I have my name. Some chatter probably knows what it is. This chatter's chatting up. Do 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 do. I'll take you there. All right. I think I've got just about everything ready. Hi. Oh, wow, we've got the Oscars in here. Oh, I suppose, is that a compliment if I look like the Little Prince? Well, I mean, of course, we all can't be Shrek, can we? The star, right? All right. I think I'm gonna be starting soon, like seconds. Let me test this microphone. Test 1, 2. Sounds good to you. And close that out. Hi, blessed one. I hope you have a blessed night. When you order Temu. I have never ordered off Temu because I'm afraid of them stealing all my personal information. Mostly Etsy, Amazon. This sword is actually, you can't see it. There's a golden sword. If you check out my YouTube channel where the videos will be posted later, the golden sword is from Halloween Spirit. Macho Man! Oh yeah! I love the good Macho Man mention. I'm just looking at my stuff, getting ready. Last checks. All right, I think I'm gonna start wrecking and rapping. Oh, thank you, Oscar. You're too kind. You're too kind. All of you for showing up are too kind. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm going to start the show now. There's just going to be a lot of talking. It's rocking and rapping. You may have heard of Eminem's Rap God. Some alum, you assuming I'm human. What I got to do to get through to you? I'm superhuman, innovative, I'm rubber so that anything stays direction off me and it'll glue to you. I'm devastating, whatever, demonstrating how to give the audience a feeling like levitating, never fading. I know the haters are forever waiting for the day I get self-up sobering because no way get a motivated, make elevating music. I'll take a drink of water for that. But I'm doing Rakim in the episode today. I don't think there's any Eminem planned. All right, I'm starting the recording. I should do like a pose. Oh, I don't remember what I gotta do a pose for the thumbnail, like, that's probably a good one. All right, so we're recording now. Get the microphone in, test 1, 2. We're gonna start in like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's Riggin' and Rappin', a podcast with a purpose to save humanity and enlighten the dark. I'm your host, King Cooper. What do you want? Research how to get it. It's that simple. Aye, there's the rub. Prolonged happiness requires delayed satisfaction. You're human. No, you're better than that. As Ye said, aim for the stars, so if you miss, you land on a cloud. Time for some Shakespeare. He's still going off on how people should have children. I believe here he is rebuking, that is a sharp disapproval, rebuking a young man for not having a kid. As we read more, we will see patterns from psychology of the author that his first 4 sonnets have been about reproduction. I imagine he didn't have much of a love life. Is Shakespeare the most famous incel? How can he have dated much when he's always writing? You haven't read his complete works, and he's probably written more than we've even got access to. Perhaps he saw his art as his child. It has stood the test of time longer than any heir would have. This is Shakespeare's Sonnet number 4. Unthriftly loveliness, why dost thou spend upon thyself thy beauty's legacy? Nature's bequest gives nothing, but doth lend, and being frank, she lends to those are free. Then, beauteous, why dost thou abuse the bounteous largess given thee to give? Profitless usurer, why dost thou use so great a sum of sums, yet canst not live? For having traffic with thyself alone, thou of thyself thy sweet self dost deceive. Then how, when nature calls thee to be gone, what acceptable audit canst thou leave? Then unused beauty must be tuned with thee, which used lives the executor to be. Let's wreck his written. So he says, unthriftly loveliness. Why dost thou spend upon thyself thy beauty's legacy? Thrifty means to spend wisely. He's calling you out. First thing, unthriftly loveliness. It is unwise to spend on yourself. Next, nature's bequest gives nothing but doth lend. Bequest is like an inheritance. The dictionary definition says legacy. Life is not a gift. You live on borrowed time, and one day will be called back. Being frank, she lends to those are free. Being frank, honest. The phrase being frank comes from the Latin francus, which means free. See the word play as the beginning and the end of this line is free. Next line says you abuse what is given thee to give. That's a nice little rap, given thee to give. The beginning was not to spend on yourself. You were given this bounty so that you may give also. There's also use of the word I'd rather not say that means stingy. Ego, concern only for oneself, is stingy. For those live folks, when I edit later, when I don't talk, that all gets cut out. So I was just adjusting some text to make it larger. Profitless usurer, why dost thou use so great a sum of sums, yet canst not live? Usurer, like usury, a person who lends for their own profit, but thou art profitless usurer. Sum of sums reminds me of Jesus, King of Kings. Even with so great a sum of sums, everything in the world, you can't live forever. Or as Jesus said, can't turn one gray hair black again. Having traffic with thyself alone, thy sweet self dost deceive. Of course, Shakespeare in 1600s wasn't talking about car traffic. Traffic then means something like business or commercial trading. Thyself dost deceive only dealing with yourself, cheats yourself. When nature calls thee to be gone is another way to say unalive, or time is up, called back to the Creator. What acceptable audit canst thou leave? Audit being an examination. When looking back on life, what do you have to show for it? Even the great works of Shakespeare are not acceptable. And the last two lines, thy unused beauty must be tombed with thee, which used lives the executor to be. Without kids, your life dies with you. If used, the kids are your executor. The executor handles any bequests or audits on your life. Notice all this legal jargon, wordplay over the whole sonnet. That's it for Shakespeare. We'll jump forward some 400 years for our rapping portion. Today's rap comes from Rakim's song, Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em. Here we go. I'm the arsenal. I got artillery, lyrics of ammo, rounds of rhythm. Then I'ma give 'em piano. Bring a bulletproof vest, nothing to ricochet. Ready aim at the brain, now what the trigger say. Tempos trifle, felt like a rifle. Massage and melodies might go right through simultaneously like a Uzi. Nothing could bruise me. Lyrics let up when the lady said don't lose me. So reload quickly and you better hit me while I'm letting this feet get with me. You're stepping with 007, better make it snappy. No time to do your hair, baby. Brothers are busting at me, beats and bullets past me. None on target. They want the R hit, but watch the guard get. Quicker the tongue is the trigger, cause I'm real fast. Let off some rhythm at 'em, let 'em feel the blast. Penetrate at a crazy rate, this ain't a 38. Hit 'em at point blank range and watch 'em radiate. Running out of ammunition, I'm done with 'em. You ask me how I did 'em? I let the rhythm hit 'em. Time to break down the bars. The first line, I'm the arsenal. So he's putting emphasis on the R. Rakim, I'm the arsenal. R, rugged and rough. That's how we do it. That's another Rakim song. Throughout the whole verse, there's a lot of gun terminology, artillery, ammo, ricochet, trigger, rifle, Uzi, reload, bullets, blast, 38, point blank range, ammunition. As Grip said, say you gonna murder me? That's hyperbole. Rakim isn't talking about guns in this song. Lyrics of ammo. His words are bullets. Midway through, he lets up when the ladies say, don't lose me. The biggest problem, artists who only care about being the best, is they make material that scares away women. Not that they're actually scared off. They don't care about how many syllables per second you can do or a triple entendre. If you can't dance to it, might as well not be music. And during the ladies section, there's a mention of 007, known for ladies, women, and weapons. Finally, the beginning and the end are the best rhyme. Let the rhythm hit 'em. Please take a moment to subscribe and follow the channel. Now I'm going to get some water for you YouTube folks. Princess. Thank you. I'm King Cooper. What do you mean, princess? Oh, my. Let the rhythm hit 'em. Now for our wreck of the week. What's wrecking my week? Grizzy. Longtime viewers might remember him from episode 21, our 4th of July cookout. How has Grizzy wrecked my week? Well, he threw off my schedule. I had to do things with him, and when usually I'm like bing, bang, bop, boom. Every day, get some new notes, write some more. But with him, oh my goodness, I took a nap and I woke up. He had his truck in the back towing my golf cart, I guess. I call it a buggy, but it's a souped up golf cart. But, oh, it's just, some people, you love them, but you can't control them. And with all this wrecking, I need to calm down with some meditations. We're doing Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. We're on number 11. From Fronto, to understand the effect of suspicion, caprice, and hypocrisy in the exercise of absolute rule. and that, for the most part, these people we call patricians are somewhat short of human affection. So 3 words to define in the first sentence are suspicion, caprice, and hypocrisy. These are in absolute rule. Suspicion is cautious distrust. Being the top of the pyramid means no one is on the same level. Some may say, "Long live the king," but there are many that would kill to be in that position, most literally. Caprice means a sudden change of mood or behavior, and it will work with the next word, hypocrisy, meaning to claim standards or beliefs which one's own behavior does not conform, not practicing what one preaches. Remember, we're talking about effects of absolute rule. The ruler can have sudden changes in behavior that aren't in line with their words. The top of the pyramid is unlike any other position. Standing at the top, one can see what no one else can. Often, rules have to change as the seasons do. If there wasn't someone to change course in a timely manner, the whole structure could crumble. Plebs will say, "Rules for thee, not for me." That's because they can't see the iceberg that's being diverted. Are they grateful for their ruler? Some are. Some think they could do a better job, even though they have no experience to justify such a claim. It is greed and hubris in the heart of man. The second half of the reading says, patricians are somewhat short of human affection. Patrician comes from pater, or father. People could think of this word as similar meaning to the modern use of patriarchy. We discussed why the nobles who are rulers in their own right might be short on human affection. Being a good ruler, they're more interested in society at large than individuals. Spending too much time focused on one sad person could wreak havoc on millions. Saying, "My boss doesn't care about me," is folly. What's good for the gander is good for the goose. And I saw a note on Meditations, not to think this is him speaking to a public audience. These are his journals. He happens to be the last great Roman emperor, and that's why we study it. And why is he so great? Because people are still asking for his rules almost 2,000 years later. Wow, I got a hee-hee out of somebody. Isn't that great? Oh my God, thank you, thank you. Lost wisdom. You would like this, lost wisdom. There's a lot of lost wisdom in this show. We're gonna be, we'll be doing some Bible next. Well, not next. We got history. But it's not exactly history. Usually I do American history, but now for This Week in History. January 12th, 1966, the live-action TV series Batman premiered on ABC. A huge hit. It starred Adam West as the Caped Crusader and Burt Ward as Robin. And you might remember, or maybe not, but this is the Batman that has the beginning that goes, "Na na 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 na, Batman," etc. I learned of this Batman, I guess, when I was a kid. The Batman movie was playing on reruns of TV, and there was a scene where Batman was getting pulled out of the ocean, and a shark was maybe stuck to his leg, eating Batman alive. So he reaches in, or maybe tells Robin to get the Bat anti-shark spray. So Robin's in the helicopter pulling Batman up. And there's a whole row of Bat anti-animal sprays. And I've never forgotten the Bat anti-shark spray. But for me, the real Batman is Batman the Animated Series. And that's also where I learned to crack my knuckles. I can't really do it with all these rings on, though. But there's a scene where Batman, like, I think he's in prison or something. He punches a guy and then cracks his knuckles. And so me, being an impressionable youth, saw that, started cracking my knuckles, and here we are, I don't know, 30 years later, whenever that came out. If you're enjoying the show, please leave a comment. I'd love for you to join the conversation. Now we'll be moving on to our Bible. We're reading Psalm number 3. This is a psalm that was written by King David as he was fleeing his son Absalom. I mentioned the patterns we'll see as we read more. As we read the Bible, we'll see the interconnected nature. In the Bible is the story of David and his sons. King Solomon was also a son of David. Remember, Joseph went to Bethlehem for Caesar's tax, as he was from the lineage of David. Absalom is a usurper, attempting to overthrow his father. David wrote many psalms, and this one is about him fleeing Absalom. There is a word used several times, Selah, spelled S-E-L-A-H. It acts like a rest in musical notation. Remember, psalms are songs. Selah gives emphasis on the words that came before. Look at this. Look at this, William Clark leaving comments. So nice of you. So nice to have you, good sir. This is Psalm number 3. Lord, how are they increased that trouble me? Many are they that rise up against me. Many there be which say of my soul, there is no help for him in God, Selah. But thou, O Lord, art a shield for me, my glory and the lifter up of mine head. I cried unto the Lord with my voice, and he heard me out of his holy hill, Selah. I laid me down and slept. I awaked, for the Lord sustained me. I will not be afraid of 10,000s of people that have set themselves against me round about. Arise, O Lord, save me, O my God. For thou hast smitten all mine enemies upon the cheekbone. Thou hast broken the teeth of the ungodly. Salvation belongeth unto the Lord. Thy blessing is upon thy people. Selah. This is the word of the Lord. Now we'll go through a couple verses. Verse number 1 says, Lord, how are they increased that trouble me? He's calling out to God. I'm supposed to be special. I'm the great King David. My enemies shouldn't be gaining strength. We all go through struggles and low points. Don't think yourself higher than the rest. David is also a sinner. The Bible tells his story. In verse 2, many there be which say of my soul, there is no help for him in God. People would be watching him, some happy to see his fall, saying, God doesn't exist, there's no help for you. In verse 3, but thou, O Lord, art shield for me, my glory and the lifter up of mine head. The psalm is beginning to turn around. David is lifting himself up with the Lord's help, and remembering he's shielded from all evils. Verse 4, I cried unto the Lord my voice, and he heard me out of his holy hill. When people thought John the Baptist was Christ, they asked who he says he is. And John the Baptist responded, I am the voice of one crying in the wilderness. The mention of holy hill calls back to Psalm 2, verse 6, Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. Also, I feel with a voice of one crying. This is what we're doing right now, Camera and King Cooper. I'm just the voice of one crying in a corner to some computers, robots. These robots, don't get me started. But verse 6, I will not be afraid. And this is something I talked with Grizzy about. If you have faith in the Lord, there is nothing to be afraid of. You're taken care of, because verse 7, thou hast smitten all mine enemies, and smite means to strike down. Lastly, in verse 8, salvation belongeth unto the Lord. It is only through God we find salvation. Stop running, stop struggling. Thank you, Lord. for our daily bread. Zimmy Zam Boomafoo! We're studying some philosophy. In a minute, of course, I have to drink some water. Drink water! Oh, I never mentioned my background, whatever, but thanks for drinking water with me. This week in the 50 philosophy ideas you really need to know, we're up to number 13. And that is one man's meats. You know, RB, we have the meats. This is a play on one man's trash is another's treasure about relativism. The book starts off with a story between two cultures, one that cremates their dead and another that eats them. When Darius was king of Persia, he summoned the Greeks who happened to be present at his court and asked them what they would take to eat the dead bodies of their fathers. They replied they would not do it for any money in the world. Later, in the presence of the Greeks and through an interpreter, so that they could understand what was said, he asked some Indians of the tribe Kalatia, who do in fact eat their parents' dead bodies, what they would take to burn them, as was the Greek custom. They uttered a cry of horror and forbade him to even mention dreadful things. Herodotus, the Greek historian recounting this story, quotes the poet Pindar, "Custom is king of all." Each is behaving correctly according to his own code, and it is to this code that each would appeal in defending its respective funeral arrangements. Last week we covered Hume's Guillotine, where he said, "Custom is the great guide." Today, custom is king. All moral appraisals and assessments should only be made relative to social norms of the group involved. A problem exists for inclusivity and one united earth, that different groups have different customs. And that's not to say that we must war with the foreign, that we need not conform to another's way. This is seen in the Bible. Our unique cultures are a gift, and attempting to blend them into this gray mush of human culture is an affront on God. Thinking our individuality is a problem to be solved. And this gets into relativism. The relativist's proposal is that we treat moral judgments as if they were aesthetic ones, as a matter of taste, and over tastes, let there be no dispute. If I sincerely say I like something, I can't be wrong about what I like. Morally, if society approves of capital punishment, then it is morally right. Different cultures might arise under the same flag, making changes over time. And that's equal to an individual changing their mind over time. Your personality changes. So to say all is relative and you change, then your relative judgment changes and you're still right, even though you have a different opinion, because you are a different person, as we have covered with the ship of Theseus. The problem with relativism is believing all is relative and anything goes. Well, if there's no rules, then I can do whatever I want because I sincerely say I like eating people. Look, this leads to isolation, thinking no one can understand or question an individual's beliefs, locking each person into their own ego. There is also the question, is the claim that all claims are relative itself relative? So that is saying all things are relative? Well, that's just your opinion, man. That's all of it's relative, even your relative opinion of relativity. You following me? You tracking? Plato dealt with relativism in the dialogue Protagoras, citing that rational discussion depends on sharing some common ground. We have to agree on something. If everything is relative and everybody has a different opinion on everything, then we can't even have a conversation, because really our language should be relative then. We shouldn't be using the same words. We have to agree on something. The most important lesson of relativism is that knowledge itself is perspectival. There is no external vantage point from which we can observe the world as it really is, quotes. There is no as it really is. There is no capital T truth unless you are the Lord in heaven who creates, defines the truth. Progress is made towards understanding through communication and collaboration across. Then cultures achieve a fuller stereoscopic picture of the world. Thank you for listening to my philosophy. Now, are you ready? We've got some math. The numbers are 1, 4, 7, and 3. So what I would do, this is a world famous math problem. Not really, I'll talk about it in a second. But what I would do is 3 times 7 equals 21. 21 minus 1 is 20. And plus 4 equals 24. Now why I said it was world famous is because on the box, it is the same card that they display on the front. Isn't that amazing? Aren't you glad you tuned in to see such bountiful knowledge? All right. Let's wind down. Final thought for tonight. Let the light in. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a nice day. Goodbye. So that's my recording for the episode of Wrecking and Rapping. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you for visiting. Goodbye.